Yes, sir.
With the white vans.
Dude, we got the fire. I think tonight's theme is like Fireside.
Fireside. Tonight's theme is I'm tired.
I feel that. You're
I
not
don't
going
know.
to be.
I need to like
Once we get like 10 minutes into this, you're not going to be.
I need to wake up. I don't know. I'm so tired.
You know what I liked about one of the like metaphors that we were talking about last night was like that bonfire shit.
What about it?
I don't know, just like because we got in deep on that stuff. That was cool.
Did we?
Yeah, do you remember?
No, dude. See, that's the thing. It was bad. I was really drunk.
Yeah, last night we tried to do this, folks, but I cut the audio or something fucked, obviously, because big newbies out here.
I know we had great conversation.
It was fun.
I know we had an amazing conversation, but
beautiful topics, but it was like a warm up. You can kind of consider it like a warm up, maybe.
Yeah, like a pregame practice type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's also what I noticed. Like, it takes a while to get yourself fucking back into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because even like fucking when I was trying to just do them by myself too, and just kind of like talking into a mic, it's pretty difficult. But after like 10 or 15 minutes, you can kind of just start going on rants, going down rabbit holes, fucking picking apart whatever you want to, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As long as you keep like an open mindset.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got back from fucking hanging out on the dock. That was fun. That was nice.
That was pretty cool.
Every time I go down there, man, it is just so refreshing being able to just sit down there on the lake.
Yeah.
You know? Fucking sunsets like that too, where it's just crisp. The water is just still and clean.
Yeah, sometimes.
You know?
Yeah, we've seen even more peaceful sunsets on that dock, which is amazing. But
yeah.
I mean, the coldness of the air too added to it.
Mm-hmm. The fall. Yeah.
And I like a good couple big clouds in my sunsets.
For sure.
But
it's necessary.
Tonight was like pretty mild.
Yeah.
Wasn't very many clouds, but there's something nice about that too, because it becomes this like perfect blanket of color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
that's the thing.
The
yeah.
whole sky more so than a bunch of clouds even would.
That's the thing I think you appreciate more when you do like photography a lot, or like get into photography more. It's just like,
I think
it's like you're always looking for kind of like something to fill those spaces, because it's like a painting.
Yeah,
it's like a painting, you know.
Yeah, we look deeper into the details of like what we're observing, I think, and that
like what you were just doing,
right?
Pre-show,
right.
We were just having a little. You were just having a little videography session.
Yeah, that was fun. Just trying to shoot B-roll for it.
Mm-hmm.
Got the Fireside.
Well, when you got that lens on too, just like when it's on like that, I mean, you can just see stuff and get that depth of field like so crisp with just like the most simple things, you know?
Yeah.
And turn kind of like a very simple thing into something very like deep and introspective that can make people think.
Yeah. It's like finding beautiful ways to observe like ordinary things.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is like, you have to
it's
look
a
at it.
never-ending story.
Like your perspective, you have to look at it from the right angle, you know.
100%.
And like your right angle is not going to be the same as someone else's, so. But the search in and of itself is what is interesting. It's like the draw. Yeah. It's also what like drives the possibility of that becoming a reality. Like the camera is in a sense is a tool to allow that idea in your head to
the journey
come
almost.
to fruition.
The journey.
It's like I have a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I see something a certain way. I want to highlight that thing. So as a person who holds a camera, you have the power to do that and capture something that then you can share with others. and be like, this is how I saw it. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that, I mean, with that too, like, what I was just saying with, like, the journey too, like, being able to hold that tool in your hands, a really simple tool when you think about it. I mean, even though photography
simple and not simple.
Simple and not simple, and, you know, deep in all aspects, but just that tool in itself can allow you to take you places that you never thought you would go. It can make you think about things that you never would think about in that way. You know. So I think it is like a tool, like a lot of artistic tools that you come across are almost like different paths or different like journeys that you can kind of dive down, or different, you know what I mean?
It's like access,
like different doors, just different like gateways into ways of thinking, opportunities, you know?
Right. And well, like art is so multifaceted that like photography falls under like a broader spectrum of visual art that is like observed with the eyes. And then, you know, you have to think about all the different senses we have as humans, you know, all the different senses.
Yeah, we were talking about senses last night.
There's like physical.
Yeah, the food talk, bro.
Food's good. Yeah. But
that white chili.
I know.
No,
I wish I had a bowl next to me.
Hang on. Do you want to turn on the AC?
Sure. How do I do that?
Thermostat. You know where my bathroom is? It's like right on the wall.
Sacred number 60.
Just turn it to the left. Turn like the button. It should be in the middle. Just like push it to the left. We need some AC going in here.
Yeah, I'm done. But anyway, yeah, let's think about art.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Visual art. I think a lot of people like understand.
Yeah, well, it's become so much more prevalent nowadays.
Yeah, and it's
it's very saturated
of
as well.
Observing with our eyes is something that a lot of people can do. You know, and then there's people who we can all observe things with our touch, with our ears, with like how we smell.
Right.
Like when you ride a ride. When I was a kid, we rode this ride at. Was it Mount Olympus or was it?
Mount Olympus is dope.
I think it was. No, it was at Noah's Ark. Yeah, and it was like the 40. It was like the SpongeBob 40 movie. And, you know, they're breaking in the Krusty. Well, Plankton's trying to break into the Krusty Krab, and then at some point, like a jar of pickles gets broken. And the 40 ride like sprays pickle smell like from the seat in front of it. It's like shh, and like just dill pickle smell everywhere in the air. So it's like
it makes it more real.
They're using the smell factor as like a way to tell a story or give you enjoyment of that experience.
Right.
Which is not like a visual thing, but it adds that other layer that makes it feel almost more real.
Sorry. Yeah, I had the same experience at like the Bugs movie.
Yeah.
I went to like, it had to have been, like Disney World, Disneyland. And they had that like, it was like, I think it had to have been like, obviously Disney probably did some of the first like real like augmented reality crazy stuff with like their theme park shit, you know. But I went to go see like the Bugs movie, right? And it was like 3D, and yeah, they had that stuff going on with, you know, stuff in the seats, right?
The movement.
There's actual things going on in the theater,
yeah,
where it makes it extremely real. And as a kid,
it's like,
you're
whoa.
like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
But nowadays it's even more profound. But
imagine,
the senses are, you know, the play on senses. You know, and
imagine doing like taking photography a step further in terms of a physical installation. And you have like bodies of work that are in certain places. So, for example, like I know that the feeling I have when I'm in Mercato Centrale in Florence, Italy, is like it's like its own little bubble of reality where there's like smells and sounds and the air feels a certain way.
Definitely.
And
that place gives off a certain vibe.
The taste of, yeah, it'd be hard to do taste, but imagine then you have like, so say I did a series of work about that place. Mm-hmm. And so you would enter a gallery and like, not only would there be the photographs of the work, but the feel, like how you could somehow get the smell of the place and the sounds of the place.
Almost dive in.
And it
right.
be sort of like I wonder if people would understand it more, or how that interpretation of that experience would be, because like you could do it with anything. Mm-hmm. You know, the streets of China and Taiwan smell like and feel totally differently than the streets of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And so when you take a photograph of like this awe-inspiring moment, you know, sunset on the mountain, landscape photograph, like there's coolness in the air. There's,
how can you capture all of
that? You heard a bald eagle fly
in one click,
and a deer rustle across, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You smell pine. Mm-hmm. You're just surrounded by evergreens, and that, like, walking into a space and then viewing like a body of work of that visualness with the additive of like subtle,
it would almost
cues to hint the brain into like that mental state. It'd have to be really well done. Like,
it would have to be like a holodeck, like a holographic deck, you know, like you're stepping into something completely different.
You don't want it to be cheesy.
Right.
So you'd have to really think about how to do this effectively, because most of the time less is more, and this is asking for more to be more. Mm-hmm. It's more like asking the blending of two things that need to be blended, or should at least be given that shot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, so but I still think you'd have to do it in a proper way, because if you skipped corners, it might feel just like dumb and gimmicky and not really achieve the effect that you're desiring. So it could be cool though.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that idea in itself is like fucking insane when you really think about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what I was gonna say too, like I think it's when you kind of take a step back and kind of like think about like what you just said in terms of like somehow being able to manifest all of that feeling of one photograph into an actual experience for a person, you know.
Imagine the
capture
the data capacity of the file that would be that.
Right, and what I was just going to tie in there is, because when you were describing that, I was like, yeah, that's incredibly interesting. And to be able to experience that in an art installation would be absolutely incredible. I mean, it would floor anyone. Mm-hmm. But when you even take it a step further and you think, man, if all of these, taking it back to the visual kind of sense thing, and if kind of humans keep improving on these, these tools that capture imagery and video and audio, if that keeps improving and improving and improving, you got to wonder, man, I wonder what that technology could look like someday if something like that could be put into a metal box and you could press shutter and all of that could be kind of sucked in one click.
What's interesting about that is, like, if we want that reality, if we're trying to achieve an AI or an alternate reality, or an augmented reality, those are the kind of things that we want to augment. We have to understand how to get to that point before we're able to create an augmented reality. So it's like, would it?
You have to understand what it takes to get there.
Would an artificial intelligence figure out how to, on its own, figure out how to mesh or blend the feeling of our different senses in a virtual space? Would an AI be something that figures that out, that problem, or would humans? And I feel if humans are to figure out that problem, we have to figure out how to do that within our own reality before doing it in an alternate reality. But who knows? We might already know how to. I would think that we don't, but we might already know how. And if we do already know how to, like, I mean, we're blending visual and audio already with Oculuses and whatnot. And so then you start thinking about, like, the other senses, like touch, taste, smell. I would think the olfactory senses would be easy, but the touch senses would be hard.
It's the Neuralink, bro.
Right.
It's the Neuralink that Elon's trying to do.
Right. So
that stuff's actually pretty crazy.
It is. That is pretty crazy. I think that what he's doing, from the most of my knowledge, it seems legitimate. I mean,
well, from what I've heard, just from that shit, was like he's like first trying it with people who have like severe like brain damage or something, and trying to like and give them more
well, and to be able to like significantly change.
I mean, that technology would be revolutionary if it's successful,
Right. Like if you had something in your brain that was blocking your nervous system from your waist down and you were paralyzed, and this neural link in your brain was able to get in and open up that pathway and like delete that block.
Right.
You're talking about giving someone the ability to use their legs again. Or
a completely second life.
Or
like
if they're paraplegic, their whole body.
Right.
Or if they, are having dementia problems, this could possibly stop the spread of it, or who knows, reverse it. Like, that's pretty amazing. So I think that's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
I think it's like revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean, humans have always been fascinated with the brain because, I mean, when the brain named itself, I think that I've always thought that's the weirdest, one of the weirdest phenomenons. Yeah. But we've always been fascinated with how we work and stuff, and the more we understand, because I mean, we have a universe within ourselves. Right. People often, I mean, you don't need to think about it every day, but. Right. People forget, but you yourself, everything in the world, down to the smallest molecule, it's a universe within itself. Like that photo you were editing with the, what's it called?
Oh, dude, we should show Noah that. Where's my phone? Noah, you should
the photo you just...
this photo, dude. This photo's crazy.
Do you want to check the video?
You're so good.
Still good? Right, cool.
Yeah,
gotta make sure that shit's still going.
Here, no, come check this out. Or here, show him.
Yeah.
You just show him.
He spent probably like an hour and a half
I was editing.
putting that together.
That's a picture of the Capitol across the lake from Paul's crew. And then I just went nuts. I was like, this kind of looks like I was looking at the picture. I was like, this kind of looks like a galaxy. And so I just kind of went with that idea. And it got wild.
The reflection on the clear sky on a sunset, with a sunset like that,
it was nuts.
Absolutely phenomenal.
It was nuts.
I mean, like
we were watching it. There were ducks.
The ways the colors were blending, on that lake while those ripples were kind of coming in.
Yeah, that was a really trippy thing to see. It was
like you said, you could see the whole rainbow within the sunset. And I don't think you're usually able to see that.
It was very
unless
strange.
The light is getting refracted by like a body of water,
Right. It was very strange because we saw, I mean, it was like
the whole spectrum, pretty much.
Everything. of visual light. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like we were getting, was it Venus? Probably Venus, yeah.
One of those closer planets.
It was insane. We were still getting sunlight from Venus,
mm-hmm.
right?
Or Mars. One of the two.
Like, sun's down, it's almost dark. We just a perfect
probably about 20 minutes after sunset.
Orange glow on the horizon, reflecting off the entire lake, and then just in this kind of cold, dark, purplish, like, sky was just this bright dot, and it was the sunlight bouncing off of Venus and just like illuminating that section.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also a reflection of the planet on the water that you could see, and so it was just incredible.
It was.
I mean, yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's
the light, the energy, just in general, the energy that comes off of the sun is extraordinary. It's beautiful.
And, and most people
we don't
like
understand it. We really can't understand it.
It's kind of sad too, because most people like don't have that time that we just were able to experience within their day. Right. To be able to go and like, just take in a sunset like that
and allow that
and look and be able to even, I mean, with all the light pollution in the big cities now, it's fucking impossible
with the stars.
But out here, thank God, I mean, we're blessed with the ability to look up and be able to see pretty much the Milky Way, almost.
Yeah,
I mean, you go 15 minutes outside of town, you step outside your car, you're going to see the Milky Way.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, most people, it's dude, it's sad. Most people just can't have.
Most people live in populated areas, which are that just makes sense because it's an oxymoron, right? So it's like most people don't get to enjoy that experience, and it's unfortunate because of how eye-opening it is
and refreshing.
Yeah, Jinx. Yeah, see, yeah. I was gonna say I feel like I was fortunate enough to, as a child, like,
you grew up here.
Well, like age 3 to 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
I lived in, like, pardon my language, bumfuck nowhere, Wisconsin.
Bumfuck nowhere, Wisconsin.
Like, city population just over 1,000. It was like 1,400.
That rural
city population 1,400, right? The high school I went to had more people at the high school than, and didn't go to a big high school.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, but anyway, being so far out in the middle of nothing, there was some beauty to that. Like
100%.
It was like, it was amazing. Just I grew up as a child, just like surrounded by the woods and just being outside and rivers and just running around and cornfields and shit. And so like being tucked,
it's underrated.
Being tucked back in the forest in like a neighborhood full of cul-de-sacs that all had like an acre and like just room. It was really secluded and comfortable and nice and quiet and peaceful, and you would hear everything. But one of the things that I feel fortunate to have had was my dad, who would take us out, and I'm sure my mom would too, but I would just vividly remember my dad like taking us out onto the driveway at night. Especially in like the fall when it was starting to get cold, because the sky starts to open up really. And laying in my front like yard or on our driveway, like you could see the Milky Way, like, no problem. Just like the band, and you can watch it like.
That was the same thing where I lived too. It was, back of the coulee.
Yeah.
Dark skies. It was.
I mean, really, like the closest big city was Madison, and that was like 50 minutes an hour away through the country. So it wasn't like the 50 minutes an hour was traffic time. It was like this thing, like the town's actually like 50 miles out of Madison, and so it. There really wasn't light pollution when I was a child. And the craziest light pollution thing I've ever had, dude. Let me tell you, if you have the money and are capable of doing this at some point in your life, I highly recommend it.
What's that?
Fly to Hawaii
Good recommendation.
And go to the top of whatever island you're on. I was on Maui, so Haleakala was the mountain. And go to the top of the mountain before sunset and stay until stay all night. Stay until like 4 a.m. Because
you were on what?
Haleakala. It's the mountain.
That's the mountain.
Spelled how it sounds. It's on Maui. If you type in Maui.
Oh, it's on Maui. Okay, so it's on Maui.
Maui's the name of the island, but Haleakala is the name of the island.
Gotcha.
You know? It's the mountain, but
those islands look absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, they're really cool, but the light. Okay, so we're talking light pollution and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no.
0.
We're talking about an island in the middle of the ocean that has not a single bit of land.
Well, they have that observatory up there, don't they?
With it, right? That's where you go.
Right.
That's where you go.
Right.
I've
heard about that. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And
you were there, bro?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm jealous.
There are not cities that are producing light to pollute the atmosphere.
Right.
For like
very small.
I want to say it's over 4,000 miles. It might be over 5,000 miles in every direction. There's not like a
because Hawaii is smack dab.
It's smack dab
in the middle of the.
Dude, it took it. Imagine this. It takes it. I think it takes 5 hours. I want to say it was 5 or 5.5 hours to fly there from the coast of California. So it's like deceivingly in the middle of in the ocean.
Yeah, things insane.
So when you're there at night, you have like this even more expanded version of the Milky Way. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You see like light browns, dark browns, wispies, like their definition. So like,
it's very clear.
Instead
and
of just seeing a band, if you're lucky, you get to see like that band widened and then like have more depth and dimension to it because you're able to.
You can almost see into it more.
Right. So it's the light pollution and the fact that you're at the top of a volcano, which is really high up in the air, believe it or not. And what the coolest thing is you're over the clouds.
Right.
You're above the clouds. So like
there's nothing. There's no obstructions.
That moisture level of the atmosphere is lower. It's denser.
Tell me what it was like. Tell me what it was like when you got it. What time did you went up there in the pitch black?
We drive. You drive. It takes a while to drive up it. It's a mountain.
Right.
It's like, I think it's like 11 or 10,000 feet above sea level. But what's crazy is
just that feeling of getting out of the car and stepping out and looking up.
So you're driving up a mountain. Yeah. It's grass. It's grassy, right? You're driving up the hills. You're switchbacking back and forth up the mountain, and you just start to see less and less grass slowly.
It's rocky,
and then like you're kind of getting into the clouds, and it's like we had a blanket of clouds that day, right? Like there was like clouds everywhere. So it's kind of gray with peaking shining through of the sun, but it was kind of gray that day. But once you start getting into this misty zone, you realize that like you're in the cloud, and it's just like when you're on a plane, then you go up through the clouds and you're over the clouds. But in this circumstance, you end up driving and then you're just like, boom, blanket of clouds.
Jesus.
And you're still switchbacking up the mountain. And you get to the top. And there's spots that you can stop on the way for lookouts and stuff. And there's a spot you can stop right before you get to the top, and it looks out into the cauldron of the volcano, right? Like the actual part that was spewing lava. And it's huge, massive, bigger than you'd think. Like you could fit
volcanoes are. You
could fit a shit ton of football fields in it. It's it's a mountain. It's a goddamn. There's like 5 or 6. And a little bit more smaller ones, but 5 or 6 main pillars or chutes that come out of that. So it's not always just like a big pit. It's like sometimes there's like thinner mini volcanoes at the tip of a volcano.
Right.
And that's just how
The
that
geology
works.
is insane.
Right. And so anyway,
But when you got to the top,
yeah, so the sun was like
the feeling.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just.
I guess, did you get up there at dark, or was it still light?
No, it was still sun. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
The sun was still well above.
Still up.
Well above the clouds.
So do you have to get up there before?
Yeah. So you get up there and you just like hang out up there and you're checking it, and then like you start to see, and everything starts to change. Like the sun starts to drop, and there's actually this really cool moment where the sun is like at the level of the clouds.
So it's almost like eye level.
Right, and then what's crazy is the sun like drops below the clouds, but it's not like
set.
It's not set beneath the horizon of the planet.
Right.
So everything gets like really orange because now the light is passing like
through
into
so
the
much
planet,
atmosphere,
through the atmosphere, through the clouds, and then back up at us. So then like you start to see some stars, and by the time the sun sets, it's like so black. It's you can't see you can't see the earth below you.
Right.
You can see like
just
the tip of like the volcano you're on. Right. And I'm
almost like a cave.
Pretty sure the moon, I think we were there on a night when it was a new moon. So we got really lucky because there was no moon in the sky to like, because if that would be super bright, first of all, that would be like super bright. It would have been great to take pictures of the moon at that night, at that time. But instead I took pictures of like the Milky Way.
Right.
Where
it's better to be able to see all the stars.
Because it was crazy. Shit. I mean, there's so many more stars than you think you've seen. It's like all those little ones pop up. They just pop up. They've been there the whole time, and it's you just don't see them as often. And it's the same way. You know, when you move on that scale, that scale goes in reverse, and how you're experiencing that. But like, it's not that hard to take pictures on your camera of like space of stars even in here in Wisconsin. But when you're on the top of a mountain like that, basically you just have a tripod, set your tripod up. If you don't have a tripod, which at the time I don't think I had a tripod, so what I did was set my camera on the windshield of our car, and it was resting
doing a jerry rig,
and it was resting on the windshield wipers, so it had the angle of the car to like look up, and the lens was at a point where like the glass wasn't affecting it. It was I mean, it was really just pictures of the sky, because it was shooting my shit up in the air. And you basically just set your settings where your ISO is really low, like, which is like, oh, low light situation, you want more ISO, but no, because you're not touching your camera, so it's not going to move. You're doing like a 20-30 second photo. If you have a trigger remote, you could go as long as you want, and you're setting like settings for clarity. Like you want f/22, right? You know, you want f/22 because you want it deep. You want focus, right? When you're talking about space, not necessarily the need for light, because that light is so powerful that it's been traveling for so long that it's gonna happen as long as your camera doesn't move. So then you just take those pictures, and it's amazing even what you see in reality and how your camera sees it. You look at the camera and it's like, it can see like more information than you can see, but that picture cannot like
take it all in.
The way that our brain interprets like that experience when we're like feeling it, even if it's quiet and there's no smell, it's clean, all you have is this like fish-eyed like experience of it. The way our brain is able to interpret depth is something that like camera companies and image recording things just can't quite. There's a benchmark there's a threshold that we have to cross if we want to like achieve it ever, because I and everyone knows that like no video or image you've ever seen is like, even in VR, is like as real as that that feeling that our eyes do. It's weird.
Well, right. And I think, when you were talking about just photographing the night sky in general and just like doing that.
Yeah.
And since we're on the topic of photography, which me and you both have a deep appreciation for, I mean, to people who don't, I guess, or people who don't, who aren't involved with it as much as, say, you and I would be, or, for people who might just, scroll through Instagram and might see, some cool photos here and there on their Explore page and can, like, appreciate that. That type of person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, what you were describing there in that act of just taking a photo of the night sky and getting it right. I had an experience like that, probably one of the best experiences that I had taking a photo of the night sky. I was probably 17 or 18, and it was, pretty simple shot. Just I actually went to my elementary school, set up my little tripod in kind of like the backyard area, in like the playground area. And my elementary school was kind of on the bottom of this coulee, and there was this ski slope on the top of that coulee kind of going down. So you could see from the courtyard or like the playground area in the elementary school, you could see, and it was night, right? It was pitch black. Yeah. I probably went there at 11 p.m. It was
that's good. It's good.
January or February, right? 0 degrees.
That's great. That's the
freezing.
Best. That's where it comes from.
Freezing my ass off.
Yep.
Probably not a cloud in the sky, but the actual like crispness and coldness of the air was making this kind of fog come up off of the ski slope, and the guys were up there making their snow. Nobody's skiing, they're just making their snow up there, blowing it up. Obviously there's the floodlights, so the whole slope is lit up,
so you just have crazy lighting,
right? The foreground is basically this crazy lighting of like the ski slope and all this shit, and then obviously you look up and it's just stars, pitch black stars. So it's this really cool kind of foreground scene.
Were you able to like capture that with the camera?
Yeah. I mean,
the foreground light's going to be really intense.
Granted, this was a long time ago, very entry level basic camera. I just wanted to get something really cool.
Yeah.
I was trying for something really cool, and I think it turned out really great for like the camera that it was. Yeah, it was like way back in like 2017, 2018, but
I'd love to see it.
Just like kind of looping back to just that experience in itself.
It's incredible.
Like, I feel like, and that kind of takes it back also to just appreciating the visual experience of looking up at the night sky. Like, if you have the dedication and you want to have an experience with photography and space and, like astrological shit on like deeper level, I would highly suggest you go out at midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever in your favorite spot, and you go try and get a cool fucking shot of the night sky, because
it's really not hard.
It is though.
No, but
it can be. For someone who doesn't, no. It definitely takes.
Here's the thing.
It definitely takes time to be able to
research how to do it.
Right.
Okay, look up what you want to do.
It's not too bad.
Most of the time, what you want to do, someone else has already done. So you should research how to do it, because someone's not only already done it, but probably posted a video or a thing about how to do it, and then that's going to help you significantly in completing that task, and it's deep too. Like, just having that experience itself. Once you're there, it's great to have that experience. It's very profound, and I think you'll be surprised that what it takes to achieve that goal that you have in photography is not necessarily that difficult. You just have to figure out how to do it. And if that means referring to people who have done it and are willing to teach how they've done it, that's good, and you should do that for yourself. I wouldn't just go out and be like, fuck, how do I do this? Because you might waste a bunch of time. that someone else has already wasted and offered to teach to save you that time of learning how to do that skill. So like,
but that's also not a bad path when you think about it.
No,
because I think a lot of people are bored these days.
Yeah, but
and like
we should all be getting out and just doing stuff and trying new stuff. Like,
and
you could look up anything.
Cool part about today too, you can go out there with your iPhone and fucking do that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
like
you're a little
I'm
limited.
shooting this podcast with my iPhone for anyone who doesn't know that. But
shout out to Apple. Yeah,
we're running a skeleton crew here.
Coming from, I feel like when I got into photography, it was in this like precipice of, like camera phones being like not good cameras. So
right.
From my understanding, growing up, it was like we had like a film camera, right, when I was a kid. For as long as I can remember, my parents had like a video camera that they would take videos on cassettes and shit with us.
Film is amazing.
And that was like on the cusp of that. But we had a film camera. It was a Nikon. And I'm not ever sure what happened to that camera. I ended up getting another Nikon film camera. But then we had this like plastic Nikon film camera, which I still have, and it's an amazing camera. It's very strange to play with, like to shoot with, but it just shoots 35 mil film. And I got to see that transition into like the DSLRs, like the Nikons. I think we had like a D3100, and then I, all this stuff started happening with full frame and with in DSLRs and mirrorless and the Sonys and the
Sony video cameras just got fucking crazy.
And it's crazy to see that happen alongside of like the iPhone came out. Oh, it has a camera on it, and now like you have a camera phone, and then that has like the capability of taking still shots at a zoom and a wide angle, and then like they started taking features from DSLRs and stuff and integrating them into like iPhone cameras. And like, to be completely honest, an iPhone camera alone, when you buy your iPhone and it's $1,000,
$1,200,
let's say it's $1,300. Honestly, the camera itself is worth that much, because a DSLR that costs that much, I mean, like that is
Apple
almost
doesn't
as
pay that much for it.
No, but I'm saying
it's fairly priced. You're saying it's fairly priced for what it is.
If you're talking, maybe here's my other opinion.
It's an insane camera. Well, that's for fucking sure.
Here's the other argument. The counter argument to that idea is that camera equipment's overpriced, and that it should be less.
100%.
So like a new,
the most expensive hobby out there, folks.
Like a Nikon.
For real, though. It'll bleed you dry.
Let's say a Canon. Let's say the new Sony fucking mirrorless camera. That's probably, the camera body itself is probably $4,500 for just the body, no lenses, like right? That, yeah. Like that. Let's just say that maybe that's not worth that much. But the thing is like an iPhone camera is really damn good, and it honestly,
it's tiny as fuck.
Like honestly, the way that it takes photographs, the photographs that it takes and the video that it takes is incredible, and like it's indistinguishable from something that's shot on a tool that's designed for that purpose alone. Right. Now we're talking about an iPhone, which is designed for not the purpose of taking photos or videos. Right. That's not why it's made. It's a phone.
But people love that shit.
Right.
And it comes back to the human. Yeah. The human like senses behind it all. I guess like our world is turning so much more visual. Yeah. And so much more just
we are
right there.
We love to consume visual aspects. But right back full circle is like
you're right there over there.
The iPhone's not going to necessarily give you the best opportunity to take when you have a DSLR camera or one that has just like a body, a sensor, and a lens. Yeah, you have more capability of the fine-tuned dynamics of how that photo is being taken straight out of the camera, how that information is being received, and so you can alter it a lot more, and you have more control over every single shot. I mean, I could point my camera at this whole scene and change the settings to make it look normal, or I could change the settings to make it look completely black. So
Right.
like you have more versatility with a tool like that for that purpose. But for everyday life and for most images that we see on a daily basis, an iPhone or any other competing level camera, even the Samsungs are really good too. The Samsung cameras are nuts. But the fact that mobile phones are at that point, it makes the accessibility to a passion like photography more accessible to way more people. Because now you don't have to go out and buy a camera, and you really don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to take pictures today. Like you could, but
you can just take pictures.
More people are gonna get to experience the quality of a high resolution image and a well composed and formulated contrast.
And it's in the moment.
You know, and they can pull it out of their pocket and take a picture and put it back in their pocket and stop what they're doing. You know, so that's we're gonna see a huge boom in the passion for photographs and for filmmaking, because more people are able to do it than have ever been able to. Because before that, if you didn't have one of those nice cameras, you really didn't get those images where you're like, wow, depth of field, like that's what my brain does. You know, like you see, like, oh, when I stare at this microphone, my brain blurs all the rest of the detail out of this image so that I can focus more on the details of the microphone in front of me. That's a short f-stop. That's 1 point. That's f-stop 0.5. You know, it's so small.
And then it just becomes
and then
natural.
Boom, like I can look up. And once more people are able to experience that, it's like, it's really cool. We're going to see this huge change in that. And I think more people are going to start to gain like an aesthetic eye for just the lives they live in, because they're able to capture those moments and look at them more like critically and in the moment, you know.
What I think is also super cool as well, and I don't know if this is something that'll like come to fruition, but it is just a thought that, you know, we're sharing so much of our lives through these visual mediums and now audio mediums as well, with just like podcasts and stuff. Yeah. And
podcasts are interesting.
And there's this fusion of them all, but there's so much of all of this now. You know, everyone's doing like, well, not everyone, but a lot of people. There's a lot of people. Like most people out there, you know, posting it Instagram, or, you know, putting a picture on Facebook, or maybe they're putting a podcast up on YouTube. Yeah. And while we live through this time period right now, if you kind of look at that, it is really just the composition of the ultimate just collection of human experiences. Yeah. And there's no way anybody is able to dissect all of it and kind of synthesize it and make any kind of, you know, because it's all just, you know, everything's kind of spur of the moment. You just post, right? You just post things. It's locked in that time. Yeah. And you can scroll back in your feed, and you can look back at what you posted back then. But
what if bear with me here.
Okay.
Right. Where's all that data go? I don't understand where it's going.
Well,
can someone explain that to me? Because
it might not. I mean, just the idea of that though in itself, like, because obviously the data it's getting sold. It's getting fucking sold to the. Yes, it is.
No,
yes,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Not saying.
In terms of the future, yeah.
No, I'm saying like literally, where do the ones and zeros? Where are they being stored? Like
in the fiber optic cables.
Yeah, but like, there's only so much. Like, is there not a limit? You know?
No, there is no limit. You can always make more storage.
How much data fills the capacity of the internet?
The storage just keeps going.
That's where I get lost.
As the technology keeps getting better and better,
but there has to be a limit, right?
Not if the technology keeps getting better.
Right. No, but what is it?
Right, but there is. I know what you're getting at though, because like,
what's the only thing in this world that's like unlimited? like truly like that we know of.
Streaming data?
No, there's only a few things. It's like light and space. Like
right.
Those are the only things that we don't have like an understanding of the limit to them. Everything else, like there's like my computer gets full at 256 gigabytes of data. Okay, the best computer in the world gets full at 450 trillion gigabytes of data. Where does the internet get full, and what happens if somehow all of that information is just gone, deleted, like, you know, the power source is cut off to the memory banks of the internet? What happens? Well, we're just a bunch of humans, so we're gonna have to like, how do we record our information if, from what we know, the internet ceases to exist? Like, we're fucked. Like, no one's writing books. No one's like there's no physical, tangible, like thing if that system breaks down. So that's where I'm like, where's the limit? Do we have a limit? If we don't, we've created something that's infinite, which is extraordinary because the only thing that is infinite is the universe and the idea of light and things like.
Right. It is very deep.
Right. Because if life's limited, like we have life. It starts and ends. Everything has a start and an end except for a certain amount of things. So with the data that we're passing on and leaving for the future of our generations and humans, like, where's the safe to that if the thing that we rely on so heavily just like somehow dissolves or gets wiped out somehow?
Right.
Where's the reassurance?
Dude.
Yeah, they're chill dudes.
Yeah, but all that photography shit and all of that, like,
talking about photography.
I don't know. I feel like just like,
and we're back.
Yeah,
back at it. We're back at the podcast.
Splicing and dicing.
Bud Light seltzers are lighting up the night.
Damn right. Go off.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, I don't know. I mean, just to like close out that though, because we can just fucking close that shit and, you know, bounce to the next topic. But
how could you ever?
Yeah, I mean, for us we can't.
Well,
but for I don't know, because we're always in it. Like I was saying, like we're always in it. Like we've got. What if we're always doing photography, or at least like
I just had a crazy idea. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this seemed important. What if every 5 minutes, Noah just says a topic, and just random fucking topic, and like we just have to jump. We just have to jump on it. You know, like we just have to.
Should I start the recording?
So we have to like stop.
It wasn't going.
No, not really.
So like in one recording,
yeah.
It could be 20. It could be 20 minutes. We have to go through.
Just go.
1, go.
Is it recording now?
Yeah, hopefully this shit doesn't like run out of storage. I gotta get a camcorder.
What do you think of that idea?
That's a good idea.
Like,
I like just a random topics. You want to throw out random topics, Noah?
Yeah. So like every 5 minutes, maybe just toss.
If he throws out anything about like specific sports people, I'm gonna have fucking idea.
Just toss topic out.
It'll be like categories.
It could be anything. Like, I don't know if I can know.
I'm down for that.
It could be elaborate and in depth. It could be broad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't. I feel like that's part of what's going to be interesting is because a conversation could grow out of anything.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how broad or specific.
Right.
Something's going to come out of it.
Right. And just like
what comes out of it.
Right. And it always starts with something that you can connect with like other people about, you know, like
I feel like it's more,
you know,
it's like that, but
like,
I think it's more it's like memories.
Yeah, and experiences and stuff. And the experience of doing things.
The kind of stories that we're able to tell.
Right. Yeah.
No, what's our first topic?
Give me 1 second.
Give him some time here. Give the boys some time.
All right, well,
but yeah,
anyway.
I mean, yeah, just the visual aspect of life and all that shit. Like, I feel like that is coming to really like an inflection point where we're definitely going to see something in our lifetime where everything just kind of gets crazy and people are like wearing glasses with like, you know, augmented reality going on, and you know, you're going to be able to like, just hop into video games and shit and metaverses, and it all really kind of like I feel like that all ties back into like really that deep kind of love for that, wanting to capture something visually, wanting to capture something and be able to express something visually. It's coming to I think, like we're definitely going to see something within our lifetimes that's going to be something totally different. That's, and it comes, and it's, I think you and me are going to be able to like probably talk about those things and kind of dissect it, and really it all for you and me, and I think for other photographers as well, you could probably pinpoint it back to like that root of photography, and that root of, because that's really where it all starts, is just like capturing images, you know what I mean? And it's just gone so far now.
I think we all.
Is it still going now?
I think.
No.
Keeps cutting off.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll just keep it going.
It could just be audio.
Yeah.
It could just be audio, right?
Yeah.
For now, like.
I got like 40 minutes. 40 minutes of the video.
It could cut to audio.
Yeah. It's cool.
So like, where.
But yeah, that photography stuff, I don't know. I feel like you can like, as far as like where it's gonna go and how far it's gonna go, I think we're gonna see some crazy shit. But I think at the end of the day, like our experiences with cameras and just like that artistic expression,
I think
it's very like raw.
I see it as like I would like to personally, I would like to be symbiotic with cameras.
That would be cool.
Like, I want to be like, if I could take benefit of what it's capable of, it could take benefit of what I'm capable of, and we could mend it somehow, I think that would be like mutually beneficial.
Yeah, it would be
and it would increase our like ability.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got like these incredible eyes that are amazing at depth of field, and like also like bionic, and like these like insane.
Well, now you're just talking some sci-fi shit.
Like lenses that are able to create. Think about like, okay, we're humans. We have things that we're good at with our eyes, but there's things that other things are good at with their eyes. But lenses can do that. So like, I can
like zoom.
Yeah, right. So you have super bionic eyes, right?
Yeah.
Boom, 6,000 times zoom. With my bionic eyes.
Yeah.
That are like, you'd be a super hunter.
You could see a superhuman.
You could see super far. You could see super
superhuman.
shallow. You could like sense probably sound and movement through them. Like maybe, like you could like, it would be nuts. You wouldn't see just visual.
Is that the ultimate
visual
reality
color.
For you, bro?
You'd see like.
Is that the ultimate?
Think of how powerful that would be if your eyes were capable of seeing more than just visual light. Like any what if it could see all of the ways of like the spectrum of light, and that like whole gamut of radiation? How much more information your eyes would be able to interpret, and how
it would be too much. It'd be too much.
I don't know, because I think someone that doesn't see visual light might consider what we see too much. Like
I feel like your brain wouldn't be able to interpret like all of those different like crazy ass waves of light. It would just be you'd probably get your eyeballs fried.
So
because we live in a dimension where we see things like whatever on this plane, but like if we like saw all of the spectrums of light at one time, I feel like our brain would just get like fried probably, right? It would probably, like, if we were to be able to see, like, UV light and, like, gamma and, like, all of the waves of light, it would just be like, how would you make sense of anything? Like,
well, I feel like we interpret, like, the way we interpret.
Because, like, colors, when you see colors, that's, like, a way to survive, too.
Right.
You know?
Right. I get that.
And even just, like... just picking up cues in nature and shit, like,
I imagine,
because when you're seeing the light spectrum, it really is just like color mostly. But
it's a small spectrum though. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like it's a very fine line, which is interesting that it's such a fine line.
Right.
But I try to think of it as like, if my main sense of vision was like sonar, like how bats are nocturnal and they would rather use
like a bat.
They would rather use sonar to like see.
Yeah.
What if we adapted things like that throughout the whole spectrum, even things that like we may not even recognize or understand as even capable, because it's like a bat doesn't realize what we see is what we see with our visual, because we're in our spectrum, because their spectrum's different and they can never, so there'd be like this infinite like ability instantly to understand how to perceive life around you, like instantly, if you were able to understand and perceive that as like your trait, like your imagination.
Yeah, that reality would be wild.
Yeah.
I mean, like, having to...
You would unlock
having
so much
to
if your
live
eyes
your
were able
life
to do that.
by using, like, sonar,
Or your brain,
like,
yeah.
waves to detect things and shit like that. I mean,
How-
I can't imagine. Obviously, it's a bat.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they're just kind of doing their thing, and they don't really think about what they do.
Right.
But we're able to kind of observe that and really kind of... I mean, it's an alien, bro. Like, there's things on this planet that are so fucking weird that we're just like, oh yeah, it's a bat. It just like does that. But at the same time, like, when you really think about it, like, there are creatures and animals on this planet that just do crazy things, like
sometimes
absolutely insane things.
Sometimes TikTok can be like just like it can be a lot of things, but sometimes you see.
I don't have TikTok.
Sometimes, in my opinion, you see something and it just really makes you think like, like it's an ironic gesture of, oh, that's funny. That reminds me of this way that I see. Like, it's like it makes me laugh into a serious viewpoint on like what I'm thinking. So it's like this video of this guy who's like, you have like, I forget even what he said, but the gist of the video was he like, there was this ant and a line of like ants going back to their colony, right? And he like reached down and got the ant, and like it was carrying something that was pretty heavy. It was like bigger. He picked one that was like carrying like a crumb that was bigger than him, right? And he like picked him up and like videoed himself flying this ant like up to the end of the anthill and like putting him right at the edge. So he just like went into the anthill. And he's like, just imagine, to the ant's perspective, they have no idea what the fuck, like what we are.
Right.
Just all of a sudden this dude was doing his thing and he like, this ant like got flown. So like there had to be this point where the ant was like, what's going on? Right.
Right.
And like, what the fuck is happening? And then maybe if that was possible, all the other ants would notice that. And like be like, what the fuck's happening? So it'd be this like miracle, right?
It would be a miracle.
And like the point is that like something like that could happen at any moment and you wouldn't even notice it because you you can't comprehend something that you have no perception of.
Right.
Like the ant can't comprehend what a human is really, but
it just is.
But like the moment of the interaction is just as important.
Yeah.
Like to the species, you know. So like something might happen.
Well, we're all just on this planet,
and we
trying to
might not all
survive.
notice, but it could be important to us. And you know, it could be an important like moment.
Well, I think that people think about it. You know, like I don't know. I think about that a lot. Like when I've thought about that in the past, just like being outside on a hike or some shit like that, you know, looking around at stuff, see a little bug here and there, and it makes
bugs
you
are interesting.
It makes you wonder. I think people do think about that. It really makes you wonder because. Whoa!
I'm sorry.
Careful there, buddy.
I'm sorry.
It's a mic drop. But yeah, it does. I mean, I think people think about it. Like bugs are weird, and it definitely makes you wonder.
Yeah.
And consider what like a lot of this world is, you know, outside of us, because our species is so like, you know, focused on us, right? But there's just so much more in the ecosystem that makes the whole thing like tick and makes the whole thing work, right? And each one of those little bugs and each one of those like big old bears or a lion all has a role to play.
Dude, hold
you know
on,
what I mean?
Hold up, that just reminded me of something.
What?
Have you guys watched? Oh shit, my leg is falling asleep. Have you guys watched the show?
These chairs do get
on Netflix.
What's it called?
Alone.
Mm-mm.
ALONE.
I have not seen that.
We should go watch an episode because
I'm down.
I watched it. It's so good. For anyone who hasn't watched it, watch it. It's so good, dude. Quick plug. I'm gonna quick plug that show. I don't know. It's like
I said the word line, and that's what made you think about it.
I don't want to spoil anything, but like just this show's crazy. It's interesting. Like I'm just there's some people that
no spoilers here.
It's
no spoilers.
Really, I think it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's first personal. I mean, social experiment for people because it's a show about people who have to survive 100 days in the wilderness, in the Arctic Circle at Great Slave Lake, which is the deepest lake in the northern hemisphere.
Jesus.
It's what was it 12? 12. I think it was 12,000 feet deep.
That's wild.
It's some stupid number.
Can't
like
be
that.
That's insane.
No, yeah, it's like Noah, could you look something up quick? Could you look up, or Paul, whoever, just the depth of the Great Slave Lake?
He's got it.
It's anyway. So
man, wilderness survival is real shit.
So they're dropped into this shit, and they're given like a camera. And like a couple nice cameras and like batteries, and somehow batteries that are able to recharge, and like for 100 days they're supposed to film themselves on the show. So like they're alone,
right? They
don't have camera crew, they don't have anyone, they're literally just out in the wilderness by themselves, and they're expected to film themselves and record every bit of footage.
No camera crew.
So it's like here these people are living. They're like a month, 2 months, pushing on 3 months into being in the Arctic. It's like fall has turned to winter, and these people are like surviving off of the land and like bearing the elements. And they're also filming.
Not too many spoilers here.
No, this is all just like basically the trailer. Yeah, this is like the trailer, and like they're filming it all themselves. That's like incredible. How do they? I mean, it takes a level of, hey, we expect you to get the really good footage that we need for the show. Right. That we're gonna like. It's like one of those. If you win $1 million.
Right.
So it's just like it's crazy. It's really interesting.
Yeah, dude. That wilderness is crazy. No, are you packing up?
Yeah,
What?
No.
No.
Don't leave,
We
Noah.
wanna hang, bro.
We want to hang.
Yeah.
Just finish up your body.
No, the pasta. Like if.
We're about to finish.
Bro,
Don't you worry.
I wanna hang out with you. We should go watch that shit or hang out or do something. Go to the pier. I don't know.
Why are you trying to leave so early?
He's like, I'm getting up early to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You're getting
that's
up early
okay.
to go
You
to
can
the
still
gym.
get up early, right?
Our in-house producer, is trying to leave on the set here, folks. It's terrible.
No, come on.
Okay, yeah, we'll meet you out
be
there in a
right-
second.
Yeah. Well, we gotta wrap this up then, Paul.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up for the family. Oh,
Yeah.
there's the cat.
Hey.
I think we talked about some good things, though.
Yeah, but real quick, like, I mean, we could always just like, these are easy. We can have these anytime.
Huh?
We could have these like later. We could have them anytime. You know?
Yeah. I got to figure out the video situation for the people.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the video
That's
such
ass.
as a bitch, but I mean, there's definitely
is.
ways around it. I would suggest.
Film on your phone.
What I would suggest is, yeah, that or you just film. What do you call
But
it?
we can also talk about this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just can't.
But,
Can't.
yeah, man.
Good talk.
I feel like big topics here, like just for the night, in all reality, like gotta keep your mind open and look up to the stars a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think that's important.
Yeah. We have to see what's in front of us and be
I think that, yeah, go on.
inspired.
Yeah.
Just be like, inspired by it.
I think if people look out to the night sky a little bit more, it's gonna help.
Yeah.
Um,
Get out.
and
cold,
if
on
you
a
can,
cold night.
if you can take a photo of it,
Get out,
it's a good
yeah.
experience. Even if you're just new
Yeah.
to that stuff and don't know much about it, like just jump in
Yeah.
and maybe go
Fun fact: if it's
get
a
a
clear
good photo.
Fun fact: if it's a clear night, and this is funny. If it's a clear night, and like there's no clouds in the sky, and you go out and the sun and the moon's out. If you zoom in, just like with any old camera that has like a good zoom, and just drop the exposure a bunch, and
Mhm.
most of the times on like a DSLR, you would like drop the ISO down to like 100, which would give it a bit. It's
Make it
less
more
sensitive.
crisp, right.
Less sensitive to light, more
Right.
crisp, right?
Right.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, man. Little tips. Little tips. These are wise tips.
It's like really not that hard to get a picture of the moon.
No.
Just even like basic setup, and that's where like
And it makes you
Samsung
think.
came in big, and they were like, "We're
I
gonna
think
make,
the important thing here too is
we're gonna
that
make a camera."
it makes you think. It really makes you like appreciate that
Yeah.
shit. It makes you think a little bit more, and it's something that you can take away from the experience and have for the rest of your life. You know,
Yeah. No.
and
Taking
share it too.
taking those experiences and
I think
and
we've
just
learned to share
running.
that shit a lot too.
that's like super important
Mhm.
for the growth of a person
Mhm.
and just who you are. I mean,
And don't be afraid to share it. Like we're always out here just
Yeah.
like getting out there when we can together and stuff,
Yeah.
and just
doing
fucking
things
making it
we love when we can.
making it like an event.
Yeah.
I think is important, like being able to share that
Right.
stuff
Right.
and just spread that positivity.
Yeah.
And yeah, man.
Silence is not there's
no reason for it. No
there's-
reason to be shy. No reason to
but
be.
but what I'm saying is like there's some serenity in enjoying the moment that you're in,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
and like
Yeah,
embracing
absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
and not feeling like rushed through it.
Mm.
Like there's something to do. Like
Mhm.
just enjoying that moment.
Mhm.
The serenity of it is important, and I think people should embrace it
Yes.
more. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
live in the moment.
Yeah.
Live in that fuck moment. All right, brother.
pleasure to be here
Yeah.
on the fireside.
Fuck yeah,
Fireside
dude. The little
fire.
bonfire we got going here.
bonfire pod with Paulie.
Hell yeah, brother. All right. Peace.
Peace.